The newscast judged the best by the Associated Press. This is Milwaukee's News Center. You're watching the Fox 6 News at 9.
A controversial haunted house moves out of a church and into a much bigger venue. It's a haunted house with the aim of taking visitors beyond the grave to show them the consequences of the choices we make in life.
First on Fox tonight, Fox 6's Maury Glover takes you on a tour of the controversial church-sponsored event that hopes to scare a lot more people this Halloween.
For the last few weeks, volunteers of all ages have been working overtime to turn the Youth Expo building at State Fair Park from this into this. For the second year in a row, Brookfield Assembly of God Church is putting on Beyond the Grave, a sort of haunted house with religious overtones. But instead of scaring people in the Brookfield Church's basement like last year, this year's event will be held at State Fair Park.
Well, this year, everything is bigger and better. We were overwhelmed with the positive response that we received last year. We had maximum capacity crowds every night, and this year we really felt that we needed to make a move.
Beyond the Grave will continue to use graphic depictions of real-life tragedies to deal with issues like teen pregnancy, drug and alcohol abuse, and suicide. But in addition to having more space, this year's event will also have more scenes, like showing visitors what it's like to live in a crack house and the reality of an electrocution.
Well, last year with the vision started targeting teenagers, but this year we've really expanded to a point where you could have anyone from grandparents to grandchildren come through this event and take something away from it.
Organizers say this year's venue may be different, but the message will remain the same.
Is to change people's lives, to offer them hope and different options in facing these situations.
Now, last year's event drew more than 4,000 people, and organizers hope to double that number. This year, Beyond the Grave is expected to open to the public on October 20th. Reporting live from a very snowy State Fair Park, Maury Glover, Fox 6 News.
This is Milwaukee's News Center. You're watching the Fox 6 News at 9.
Bigger and better. That's how organizers describe a religious haunted house opening at State Fair Park tonight. Last year, Beyond the Grave drew huge crowds to a church basement in Brookfield.
And the attendance was so large, in fact, that this year organizers had to move the event. But does the bigger venue mean bigger crowds? Maury Glover is live at State Fair Park with the answer, first on Fox. Maury?
Well, the answer to that question, David and Beverly, appears to be yes. As you can see, the people lined up to get into Beyond the Grave stretches back about 100 yards. Now, in fact, organizers say they reached their attendance goals with about 2 hours into tonight's event, and it looks like things will only get better from here.
It's amazing what they can show you in this hour that you're in there. I've been waiting for this all week.
Amy DeMeyer loved what she saw at Beyond the Grave last year, so she couldn't wait to come back and see it again.
It's just overwhelming. I can't even explain it. It totally hit me. I came out crying. It was like, it just gets to you.
Last year, Brookfield Assembly of God Church put on the first Beyond the Grave in the church's basement. But the response was so positive, organizers decided to find a bigger venue for this year's event.
Last year was our first year, and we were absolutely overwhelmed with the positive response that we received. Every night we were filled to maximum capacity, and so this year we really felt we needed to make the move to State Fair Park.
Beyond the Grave still uses graphic depictions of real-life tragedies to deal with issues like teen pregnancy, drug and alcohol abuse, and suicide. But the 22,000 square foot Youth Expo building at State Fair Park allowed organizers to double the number of scenes to attract a wider audience.
Last year this was strictly a youth-sponsored event targeted at youth, and we had people who were grandparents bring their grandchildren through last year, and we really felt that we needed to expand to a larger audience.
Amy DeMeyer says this year's Beyond the Grave was better than ever. In fact, she'll be back next week to see it again.
You can't get enough of it because it gives you positive hope for things that you go on through life.
Now, Beyond the Grave is not for everyone. People with certain medical conditions as well as small children are not allowed inside, but as you can see from the lines here, that is not keeping the large crowds from coming out to try and get into this very special haunted house. Reporting live from State Fair Park, Maury Glover, Fox 6 News.
Maury, thank you. And now maintaining our Halloween theme.
into Beyond the Grave.
Many people come to me seeking answers when all along your answers lie within.
It's a house of horrors that takes the form of a morality play. Good evening, I'm Kathy Michaelby. The controversial haunted house graphically depicts scenes ranging from abortion to electrocution. It's the Brookfield Assembly of God's way of sending a warning about behavior on Earth and its impact on the afterlife. Because they drew more than 4,000 people to the church last year, they've moved it to State Fair Park. Nick Bohr is live there.
Well, that's right, Kathy. Another big crowd here this year. This line's been like this all night long. In fact, very enthusiastic crowd. Everybody waiting in line to be scared. But instead of witches and goblins, it's a horror of a different sort here. Moral dilemmas and their possibly deadly consequences.
It's the place between life and death.
This haunted house is like no other, featuring real-life depictions, sometimes very graphic horrors.
A lot of people put their head in the sand or throw up their hands that there's nothing they can do, and we really feel that it's important that we reach out to our community and try to do something positive.
More than 500 members of the Brookfield Assembly of God have come together to present 18 interrelated skits, from a drunk driving crash to the execution of a murderer.
The whole point is for them to see that there really is something out there, that there is a supernatural, that there is a reason to live.
Do not be fooled into believing in your own immortality.
That every choice they make has a consequence, and it's all going to affect not just themselves, but people around them.
And after seeing the possibly devastating impacts of their choices, a religious message.
When I call out your name, will you have time for me?
I thought it was a really inspirational thing because it showed you how much your life can be with God in it.
For people to experience reality instead of haunted houses during the Halloween time, and it really helps you think and to know, what if I die right now? Where am I going to go?
Now, because of the graphic nature, no one under 13 is allowed in without a parent. No one under 8 is allowed in here at all. And there has been some criticism that this isn't the way to teach people about God, but certainly based on the turnout here tonight, Kathy, there's at least an awful lot of curiosity.
All right, Nick Bohr reporting live from State Fair Park.
Don't call it a haunted house. Organizers from the Brookfield Assembly of God call it a reality check. Shocked? You're supposed to be.
Many people start out very indifferent. They're almost laughing. And by the time they come through, many of them are so emotionally moved.
It's supposed to make young people see that if you make the wrong choices in life, there are negative consequences.
You saw certain parts that, like, your friend or you was going through, and it made you, like, think or whatever.
I go through there, and I'm like, you know, this stuff can really happen. So it was real for me because I see a lot of kids doing it, and it's, you know, what can you do? You can't really stop them. So this is a great place to teach them that.
Not everybody agrees that this is a road to salvation.
I mean, who wants to see, you know, teen drunk driving accidents, teen suicide? You know, it's not, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the Word of God. It's not through baiting, it's not through trickery, it's not through deception.
But the parents who went through with their kids say it seems to work.
I think it's a good wake-up call, and I think the option here is to bring them to Jesus Christ, and I think that's the bottom line. And a presentation like this really wakes up a lot of people, including us adults.
And live at State Fair, this is where folks actually come out of the event, and it's interesting to see some of the faces as they come out. Actually, inside, I saw one younger girl in tears. She is the exception, not the rule, but you should know that it's possible some people get pretty shaken up. You can see here as well, the line is still pretty long to get into this event. They've sold more than 1,000 tickets, and they will keep selling until 11 o'clock tonight. Live in West Dallas, Milwaukee County, Vince Petrano, today's TMJ4.
Thanks, Vince. It looks like it does have an impact on folks. Beyond the Grave is open tomorrow and Sunday from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. It's also open again on October 27th through the 31st. Admission, $5. All being held at Wisconsin State Fair Park. Well, he won.
18-scene maze is designed to address cutting-edge social issues ranging from school shootings to suicide.
It's an interactive drama, and it involves 18 scenes that depict real-life situations.
Beyond the Grave takes place all weekend long, and then again next weekend through Halloween. It'll cost you $5 to get in.
Now, State Fair Park.
Long lines of people wait to go through Beyond the Grave.
Guy will have no voice.
But once inside, some get a bit more than they expected. It hits you in the face with scenes of drunkenness.
No! No! Family, no!
That leads to domestic violence and a suicide shooting. So far, 7,000 people have walked through this haunting tour. And for some, there is an effect. Those scenes, minus the school shooting, almost could have been taken from a page of Jason Collada's life.
My dad used to always come home drunk every single night, wake me up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning fighting with my mom. I'd just be afraid to walk out in the front room and try and break it up without getting beat up and pushed around.
Families have also been affected.
We've actually had some parents who have reconciled with their children over abuse issues going on in their home, and that's just a real healing process for them.
The witchcraft scene is very real for Rachel Hahn. She wants to practice witchcraft before going through Beyond the Grave last year.
A lot of the things in Beyond the Grave is very realistic. I saw some of the stuff in there that I was doing in my life.
Rachel has given up witchcraft and the spells, and she's turned her life over to Christ. Organizers say 200 other people have made the same choice this year.
Go to the game. I'm going to be late. Karina! It's been wonderful ever since, you know, I mean, it truly has been.
And for more people who want information about Christ, they're given a videotape, and someone will follow up with them. They're also invited to another gathering called Getting to the Next Level. That's November 28th. Right here at State Fair Park. And for others, the hope is that they will think about their choices and then make the best decisions. Reporting live from State Fair Park, Beverly Taylor, Fox 6 News.
Again, tomorrow is the last night for Beyond the Grave. It opens at 6:30. Tickets are $5 and can be purchased in advance.